Having purchased 23 properties, I have learned a thing or two about refurbishing properties. In this video, I want to explain how to refurbish a house from start to finish using the template I created and tips and tricks to help you save time and money on your refurbishments. The first thing you need to do is collect the keys from the estate agent. You need to change the locks for added security and peace of mind. The only locks that you need to change are the locks that give access to the property. So usually the front door and the back door. It's a really simple job and you can usually just change the internal barrel, which is usually inexpensive. You want to put up a lockbox at your property and put the key in there so that you can give anyone access to the property that needs access rather than running around every time someone shows up. I created a new WhatsApp group where I added the full address of the property and instructions on how to access it. I would create a video as well. Check it out. If anyone ever called me and needed access, I would send them the instructions on WhatsApp. This has saved me so much time and hassle I can't even begin to explain. Locate the main stopcock and turn off the water supply. The stopcock is usually located in the kitchen underneath the sink, or it might be in the downstairs toilet or in an airing cupboard near the hot water cylinder. If you can't find the stopcock, or when you do it's too tight to turn off, then you could turn the supply off using the external stopcock, which is usually found in the boundary of the property, often in a cover in the pavement or the garden. You will need to drain the water tank and pipes to prevent leaks during the refurbishment. These are usually located in the loft or in the airing cupboard. If the heating system is being removed, ensure the boiler is properly shut down. Take meter readings and change supplier details. Record gas, electric and water meter readings to avoid being charged for previous usage. Contact suppliers to transfer accounts into your own name. Consider switching to a better tariff to save on utility costs. Contact the council and change the council tax into your name and set up a direct debit to ensure that you pay this on a monthly basis. You might be able to get council tax relief if you are refurbishing the property, but it's becoming less and less common. Assess and secure utilities. Ensure the gas, electric and water are safely disconnected before any demolition work. Refurbishment and development survey. If the property was built before 2000, then it's really important to undertake a refurbishment and development survey before you start any refurbishment. This will identify if the house has any asbestos, where it is located, its extent, and whether or not it needs removing. A lot of lenders today are asking for these surveys, and it's really important that you get one done. It's an intrusive survey which looks at the materials used in the building, and samples are taken away for testing. You will get a report back identifying any asbestos containing materials and where they are located. You can usually get a quote for their safe removal. It's really important that you check the EPC rating that the current house has and then get it to the highest possible EPC you can given the extent of works. For example, the government is making landlords improve the efficiency of their houses, and so by 2030 the EPC on lettable properties must achieve an EPC rating of a C or higher, an increase from the current minimum of an E. Now this doesn't apply to residential property, but given that you are doing a full refurbishment, it's really important to look at the EPC and see what changes you can incorporate into your project to get the best possible rating. For example, simple changes can make a big difference. For example, if you are going back to brick and using plasterboard, you can use insulated plasterboard to improve the energy efficiency. Some banks and lenders are introducing green mortgages, offering better rates for homes with higher EPC ratings. Also, in the future, mortgage lenders may require energy efficiency improvements as part of their lending criteria. The EPC will tell you which changes you need to make in order to bring the EPC rating to at least a C or better. The EPC for the property will show you what improvements you can make. However, the issue I found was that the advice was sometimes not applicable. For example, my house didn't have space to add cavity wall insulation, and the council would not allow external insulation or allow the installation of solar panels to the front of the property. For a house I'm doing at the moment, I liaised with a company called Tech who helped to improve the energy efficiency of this house, taking into account the works I was doing. But for this house, I added insulated plasterboard to every single wall facing the outside and installed underfloor heating. I installed energy efficient windows, made sure I was buying the most energy efficient boiler given the size of the property. As well as insulating the loft, I also insulated downstairs with rock wool between the joists. Houses of this type usually have an EPC rating of D or an E, but given the improvements I'll be making will push mine to at least a C. Buyers are increasingly looking for homes that are energy efficient. Ultimately, this will save them money on a monthly basis in terms of the energy costs. Structural works. If you are planning any structural works, then you need to make sure you engage a structural engineer. If you are planning on taking any walls out, now is the time to check if they are load bearing or not, so that the structural engineer can design the beams accordingly. Roofing and guttering. You need to make sure the property is watertight. This is crucial to prevent water damage to the newly insulated materials such as plasterboard, insulation, flooring, and electrical systems. Water coming into the property can lead to mold growth, structural weakening, and costly repair work. By securing the roof first, you protect the integrity of the internal finishes and avoid potential delays or financial losses. You need to make sure the roof is not leaking, check for missing tiles and or damaged flashing. Ensure the gutters are clean and draining properly. Repair or replace any faulty soffits, fascias, or downpipes. Remove all old carpets, wallpaper, tiles and fixtures. Strip back to bare walls, ceilings and floors if necessary, and disconnect unneeded electrical wiring, gas pipes or plumbing. Properly dispose of the waste materials. Make sure when you order skips that you let them know what's going inside, as sometimes different companies have different rules about what can be disposed of in their skips due to local regulations and waste processing capabilities and environmental policies. The last thing you want to do is fill a skip only for the company to refuse to take it away. It's also important that you only order a skip when you need it. There is a tendency of empty skips suddenly being used by others. First fix electrical. I always used to get confused between the different stages and never knew what the difference was between the first fix and the second fix. So basically, the first fix is basically everything that happens behind the scenes in terms of the electrical works. It's usually items you can't see. It takes place before the plastering and decorating. It involves installing all the cabling and wiring for the sockets, lighting and all appliances. It involves installing the setup, back boxes for the electrical sockets and light switches, and wiring up connections for the security systems, internet, any smart home features you might want. It also includes the installation of the consumer unit, otherwise known as the fuse box. First fix plumbing. This stage happens before plastering and flooring are completed. It involves installing all the necessary pipe work for water supply and drainage. It involves setting up the pipes for the bathrooms, kitchens, radiators and boilers, and preparing for any underfloor heating if you are including that. This stage also ensures all waste pipes are correctly positioned for sinks, toilets, baths, radiators are all put in place, but without fixing the actual fixtures. First fix carpentry. The first fix is about the structural preparation, while the second fix is about the final aesthetics and functional details. The first fix happens before plastering and involves structural and hidden work. It includes fitting floor joists, wall stud work, roof timbers, door frames, staircases and any other framework that will be covered up. Plastering. This involves applying plasterboard to walls and ceilings where needed, skim plaster to create a smooth, paint-ready surface. Make sure you allow adequate drying time before moving to the next stage. Second fix electrics. This happens after the plastering and decorating are complete. It involves connecting and installing all the final electrical fittings such as light switches, sockets and faceplates. Fitting light fixtures, spotlights and appliances such as ovens, extractor hoods. The system is then tested to ensure it's safe and fully functional, and an EICR issued to demonstrate its compliance. Essentially, the first fix is about preparing and concealing wiring, while the second fix is about making the system usable. Second fix plumbing. This stage takes place after the plastering, tiling and flooring are finished. It involves installing and connecting the final fixtures and appliances such as the sinks, toilets, baths, radiators, boilers and taps. The system is then tested for leaks and functionality before being sealed. Second fix carpentry. This takes place after plastering and decorating. It involves fitting final visible elements such as the internal doors, architraves and skirting boards. The stair handrails and balustrades are fitted. Any built-in wardrobes, cupboards and shelves are also completed. All woodwork is adjusted and finished to ensure its smooth operation. This stage also ensures a polished and finished appearance. Painting and decorating. This stage involves applying primer and undercoat and final paint coats. Wallpaper will be put up if required, and all woodwork, for example skirting boards, door frames and architraves, will be painted. Final flooring. Lane carpets, hardwood, flooring, laminate, tiles or vinyl. Applying sealant or varnish where necessary and ensuring that all transitions between different flooring types are smooth. Snagging and final checks. This stage involves checking for minor defects or unfinished work, ensuring that the doors and windows close properly. Testing all electrical sockets, switches and appliances, making sure they are all working and confirming that the plumbing is leak-free and the heating is working. Finally, making sure that all fixtures and fittings are correctly installed. Final cleaning. Deep clean of all rooms, including dusting, vacuuming, wiping down surfaces and removing any paint splatters or debris. Cleaning windows, doors and mirrors, disposing of any remaining building materials. Outside of the house, check the external walls for any minor cracks or damages, clean or repair external doors and windows, tidy up pathways, driveways and patios, clear weeds and debris from the garden areas, lay new turf, decking or patio if needed, install any fencing, gates or sheds, plant shrubs, flowers or trees for a finishing touch.